Hit me. Generals gathered in their masses. Get out of the ways.
Only the 70th stream that I've done, and I still fuck it up. Let's make sure the audio's working. All right, we're in. I cannot believe it. Mom, thank you for the shout out. If you wouldn't have texted, we would have been just doing a live stream to ourselves now, wouldn't we? All right. Well, welcome to the last Monday of June. It's hot outside, but guess what? My AC works in my new apartment. Ooh. It does appear that I am reporting live from a treehouse, and I love it. I'm so blessed to be out of Wildwood off Main. If you tuned in last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, to the 16-hour live stream, thank you so much. That was a real act of bravery, and you might notice that it says 997-minute live stream, but then if you look at it, it only says that there's 12 hours of recording. Don't quit your day job, Toots. Yikes. YouTube stopped recording after 12 hours. So YouTube's next on my list. But there's no worries in the world. We are here, back to engineering improv. We are putting our brain back together. If you want to stay up on the news of what's going on at Wildwood off Main, my TikTok, my Facebook, have plenty of videos. Going to be reporting that stuff there. But we're back to business. We're back to having our computer, our things, everything is in order. So today I'm excited. I'm going to be exploring building and it's going to sound a little crazy the way I'm describing it, but essentially, if you're familiar with online shopping, you go to the website, let's say Amazon, and you naturally have a shopping cart. And while you're browsing all of the website, you can add things to that shopping cart. A concept. So that is all encompassed. Once you place that order, it is an order ID that is made up of individual line items like order details. And so in the database structure, there's two things going on. One, there's the transaction, but then also there's the line items on that transaction. So similarly, you go to a restaurant, you pay the bill, might be $50. Well, what's made up of that $50? That's why you get an itemized receipt. So today, or something that's been happening with Good Trade Depot, is that our outbounds process has developed and grown and shifted and bobbed and weaved, and there's a lot of different ways that you can fulfill something from a manufacturing facility to all sorts of different customers, because the way that you ship to a pallet to a business versus the way they ship a parcel to a house, completely different processes. So what's happening now is my original systems I built are just originally it was, pretty easy to, when we had 5 clients, to be able to, as they add a new unique identifier, like I'm talking in tongues. Oh, medication. Which is this advised by a doctor? This is them together, probably not. Night shift energy is keeping me awake on the stream today, so shout out. New flavor coming to the website soon. If you want 20% off, links in the bio. Ooh, she's an influencer. Hi, Ashley girl. I miss you so much. Yeah, the patio, it's actually not condemned. A concept. But yes, I feel like I'm in like Twilight, when they have all those big windows, like it feels very like Cullen House. But anyways, so in Airtable, I've been building a lot of our database structures and processes and routines out of that for Good Trade Depot. The problem is we are growing so fast that a lot of our processes aren't just keeping up with them the way I naturally we were going to outgrow it at some point, but originally, so let's just talk about, and this is where during this episode I'm going to be I'm going to map out the different avenues, but the primary problem we're having is if a client, let's say, is warehousing their product with us at Good Trade Depot and they want to request that they send 4 different flavors of, let's say, night shift. They want to ship 3 new flavors to a location in 3 different quantities. The way it's set up right now is just order number, and then a text box that has the quantity of what are you looking for. So they have to type in. And if you know anything about any user input to any form, ever, the more instructions you have to give for someone to get it right, the more likely they're going to fuck it up. That's just how human nature works. That has nothing to do with our customers. That has nothing to do with nothing. It's just that is how it works. So difference is if you're ordering Jimmy John's online, you don't just type in, hey, can you get me a sandwich with this? No, they've got structured boxes where you can go to the exact item you want, put in how many of those things you want. All the modifiers are all in one location. Now, Airtable isn't the super duper best in terms of interfaces. Being able to interface like that with nested records with hypervariable nature. And so today I'm going to be kind of exploring how to represent the data in a better way for user input outbound requests. And the reason why it's like I'm saying it like that is because the e-commerce process, if you go through Amazon on their website, if you look at any Amazon URL, there is an ASIN number that is the unique identifier for that exact SKU, that exact 24-pack, whatever. That's a unique identifier that when the order prints out from the fulfillment side, I see that number and I know exactly what I'm picking from the warehouse. And that is all mapped out in terms of the weight, the size, the dimensions, all of that. And traditionally, Amazon is pretty difficult to onboard because there's so many details required. But they're able to provide such a electric fast service because of the way that their routing guide is engineered to make sure that the people who are picking, packing, and shipping you the products that you want, there's no gap in communication of, did you mean 4 6-packs or 6 4-packs or 2 12-packs that are shrink wrapped and then in a 24-pack case tray? Like, there's a lot of details that could go wrong. Now, today, I'm not going to focus too much on e-commerce because most Shopify, Amazon, Goldbelly, they have their own unique identifier system. Shopify's is a little, I love an ASIN. I love Amazon unique identifiers because there's just I could put it into Google and it would bring me exactly to that landing page that I could go purchase or see exactly what the customer sees. Now with Shopify, you have the autonomy to adjust you could make your unique identifier the word yellow. So when it comes through on the fulfillment end, well, if you put yellow, it's unique to your business maybe, but it's not unique to the Shopify ecosystem. And so that's where Amazon has so much leverage with the way, because they are such an in-demand place where there's so many eyeballs on Amazon that they can get away with making merchants on Amazon fit within the bounds they've created because there's such a high demand for that market. Now, as a small 3PL, if we make it hyper difficult for people to work with us, you want to know where they're going to go? Fucking somewhere else. So the challenge I have today is how do I make this process easy enough that new business owners and new 3PL, new brand owners can easily create unique identifiers for themselves so we can attach that to their product internal to the warehouse so that they can request product to go out more easily through the outbound process. And you might be saying, Amber, that sounds like a mess. And it is. And that is why we traditionally point our customers to do most of their samples and most of their processing through e-commerce platforms because those are engineered to handle this level of variability. However, when you have a lot of new business owners and new brand owners, they are doing sampling and they're sending it in all sorts of new concoctions, and there's a lot of variability. So we need to be able to help accommodate them to send potentially a product to an investor who might give them a bunch of money, who then can get them on a platform sooner. So I don't know. Today, I want to explore the answer is nested records. I need to explore. I'm going to be building I'm going to put some music on. I'm going to be building kind of like a speed run of trying to create a mock version of our current inventory, like a skimmed down version, and then trying to I don't want to this is basically the sandbox environment for myself so that I don't mess up our actual database and then everyone get mad at me. So we're just going to test out, and I want to build it well enough so I can mess with the interfaces, because the real problem is, as I can teach our staff at Good Trade Depot how to use the kind of finicky nature of Airtable. With a client portal, and especially at 40 clients currently, like, that use the client portal, eventually it could be 50, it could be 200. When I roll out new things, I need to get better at creating interfaces. And I also might dabble in Softer because I know Softer is just ultimately way better at interfacing than this, but we'll see. But anyways, the Ritalin is like in my bloodstream. How's everyone doing? What are we working on? What kind of exciting stuff are we doing this week? How are we beating the heat? Does everyone have access to a pool? Let me know. Wow, oh my gosh, what a beautiful angel queen princess girl. Wow, Amber from the past. I really needed that. Thank you. Okay, what I'll do first is I think I need to map the problem first. I'm just gonna show you some stuff. I'm just gonna show you some stuff. Also, oh no, my AirPods. Did they die? Oh yeah, Mom, I imagine you are having plenty of breathing issues. Don't die, please. That would be a real problem for me specifically. Obviously for you too. But yeah, that would really be the shit in my cereal for sure. Okay. I'm here. Okay. Okay. So there's kind of a nebulous of things happening, and I'm going to try to make this not dumb. Let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna make a picture and then I'm going to explain it afterwards. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Can you guys hear that? Let me know. Perfect. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so let me get some arrows. There's a full moon tonight? No wonder everyone's nuts. No wonder. Also, if we do not like the music, you can let me know. Because I'm 50-50 on it right now. TB Super H. Okay. Picasso. Okay, so here's what's going on in my mind right now. And drawing it out helps me visualize why it's a mess. So how things are structured is at Good Trade Depot, we have a lot of like companies that have inventory, they have outbound requests, and they have, if you're familiar with, like, you could say like okay, to break this out, there's something bigger I have to talk about. Can case. Okay, so something that is helpful to know, and I think by me explaining it out loud, the answer lives within my explanation. So it might seem like I'm trying to educate you on UPCs, e-commerce, and data structures. Not the case. I'm actually trying to bring it out of my head and onto paper so that when I go to map this with data schema, it makes sense before I start just building willy-nilly. Because if it doesn't make sense in the picture, it's not going to make sense in the database. So, oops, wrong one. Okay, so essentially, company has pallets that hold inventory. The pallet is the location that is the bundle of all of that information. But the inventory can, this, and I'm going to put things in red also. So this is also there's a few complexities. And now one of the things that you're in your mind, you're going to say is, I'm not even, there's pros and cons to a lot of this. So I'm going to put this in. Okay. This is going to make a little bit more sense. So if you, let's find some pictures. I'm going to keep making pictures and then I'll explain it in a minute. because I just realized that, of course, this is complex, but the real answer to this is nested records. We'll get there. That's a better example. There we go. What am I? This shrink wrap variety pack drinks. I mean, I guess this is kind of what I'm talking about, but not completely exactly, but whatever. Let's just do whatever, like this. Okay. So, what can happen? So, all right, here we go. So what can happen is company has pallets of inventory. Pallets of inventory normally look like this, where it's just like open top case tray. And sometimes you can, this is a 24 pack open case tray. So when you sell it to retailers, you might want to sell it as a 24 pack or a 12 pack or a 4 pack or an 8 pack or a 16 pack or a 15 pack or whatever. There's all sorts of price points and there's all sorts of stuff. Now at Anheuser-Busch, they write off the production line, the production canning. It'll go right into the type of packaging it's meant to be in. A 6-pack, a 12-pack, a 212, 24. Usually everything turns out to be something close to a 24-pack of 12-ounce, whatever. That's a case equivalency. Now, the thing with small brands is you don't know what flavors or what sizes or what price points make sense yet. So with the way that we provide a pick, pack, and fulfillment service is that we'll take your open top case trays and we will package them into boxes and do variety packs. We could do variety packs, or we could do like breaking this down into like a 12-pack or an 8-pack. And Banjo's freaking out. There's a lot of new noises at the new apartment. So if you hear Banjo barking, many apologies. Okay. So because we offer this utility of pick, pack, and fulfillment, which is a very loved and necessary flexibility for small business owners to get data to support which sizes they should be going into. Now, the problem with that is when they're all in 24s, that puts in it creates a labor intensive pack out, which pack out is hard enough, let alone not having your outbound ideas set up. So that's where Bridget in our warehouse has been doing a really great job with clients to say, hey, here's some common box sizes and tray sizes and pack out. Like, here's some common things that transport well. You get good deals with like shipping, la, 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 la. Now, something like a uh, bicycle jersey, it's already in its sale ready configuration. It's just a shirt. You don't have to like sew the shirt before it goes. It's in a bag. You put it in the shipping box and it's off on its way. So that all being said, because of the nuance of the what lives on our shelves or like on our pallets in the warehouse, that creates this moment where to just say, and this is the complaint I have with most every time I see someone post about having an inventory management system or an ERP on Airtable, or like, I built a warehouse management system with AI, every single one does not have any complexity of a like a bill of materials-esque thing. So the things that sit in the warehouse are kind of in a few different formats. So I guess that's where we could actually start. So we need like item types. So this would be considered an e-commerce component. So if you're doing um unless they are pre-packed out like for FBA, let's see if there's any good FBA versus FBM. Here we go. This is going to be good. Okay. So with FBA, FBM, all of this. Let me see. So what'll happen is FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. And what's nice about that is as a pick pack, like as a kitting facility, we will put the boxes and the materials in its saleable units in the shipper box. So when it gets to Amazon, they slap a label on it and it's off on its way. But in our merchant's warehouse, so FBM, fulfilled by merchant, that's where we need to pack it out at the last moment or, right before it's requested. So that's where we need to have different processes, maybe not different processes, just different forms to fill out depending on if they are in saleable formats or not. And the other big issue with that is, let's say I believe that I'm going to sell or to kind of, and I keep talking in circles, but eventually I'll get to my own point. At Anheuser-Busch, there was a reality where we had what it is it's a box that has two 12-packs, little cases of Bud Light bottles, let's say. And then you could be selling a brown box of 24-pack Bud Light bottles. There's a circumstance where you could be completely out of stock of two 12 bottles, but not 24-pack bottles, but people don't want to buy it in 24-pack. They want to buy a 12-pack. Understandable. I don't need 24 beers. I only want 12. I only really want 3, but whatever. So by having a lot of your inventory sucked up into a SKU in a configuration that doesn't sell well, that's opening the door for you to have a lot of supply chain loss, obsolescence. And that was my whole Anheuser-Busch career. And so that's why I love the service that we give. And I don't think it's going to be difficult for me to handle the complexities of this. But I think, especially in this day and age, especially in the age of entrepreneurship, I think this is a worthy problem to solve, because I know every engineer would look at this and be like, why don't you just do it the way everyone else does it? Fortunately for me, I've got enough cojones that I'm not afraid to tackle the bear. So now that that's said, we're back to this. So key thing number here that I need to do, and we're gonna say green for ideas, and it's going to be item inventory type. A proximity to salability. And I think this is important for not just like we used to have boxes of like pots and pans, and you could just put a label on it and send it out the door. Whereas there are some things that don't I think there's a better word for this. Let's see what Claude's got to say. One sec. Let's see. I'm always embarrassed that my Claude is going to pull up my last conversation history, and it's usually about me saying something silly like, did this text sound rude? So, okay. And also the perpetual disclaimer, use AI ethically. Don't shove it down people's throats. I'm using it for quick thought processing, but I do not encourage data centers. Okay, now that that's out of the way. Okay. I don't even have a good way to ask this question. I want to delineate. That's not how you spell that. I want to delineate my inventory on hand data with a single select column that describes the proximity to being saleable. Some things are only components of a formed e-commerce listing. Think grape soda in a variety pack of different fruit sodas. Versus something that is ready to put a label on and send to UPS, let's say. Ask me a few questions to help you help me make categories. Ugh. Operational. Primary use is operational. I don't really care about reporting at this moment. Walk me through the most complex example. What are the stages look like? Go through what stages? Oh, does it need to be physically assembled into the variety pack, or is it more of a virtual bundle? I know this is not interesting content. Guess what? It's too late. Oh, let me put on some music. So sorry. So sorry. The problem with this is that the outbound would have The item itself, you don't really know what path it's going to go down, so you really don't know how close to saleability it is, because if it's just going to go out as a 24 pet case rate, it's actually quite close. Oh, Mom, you finished it? Do you feel like an artist? You're always an artist. That's great. How exciting. I did start doing my daily pages again, which makes me feel so much better. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. Did you enjoy it? That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. All right, let's see what it's got to say. The thing is, I could just take a whack at this, but because I think this is going to be kind of my next 3-4 weeks goal is revamping this. This week is just about learning. I think next week is about implementing. The Daily Pages book is so big. Well, the other thing about that, Mom, is you don't have to complete all the pages. That's more of like a meditative practice if you want to get into it. But I encourage, for sure, if you're having fun with it. Okay, let's see. Oh, more follow-up questions. I have to remember that innovation takes a million small, tiny, minute, little steps forward until voila. Like the eureka moment isn't random. It's because of the orbital thoughts, the little moments over and over and over. Oh my gosh, Eric, hello. How are you doing? I have to remind myself that innovation doesn't just happen. And this is a complex problem. And it's going to take multiple efforts and multiple weeks and multiple attacks at this. And it's because it seems like it should be a simple, the subconscious thinks it should be just easy. And it's like, no, it's actually quite complex. And because I'm trying to tackle a complex problem, it means once I solve it, I'm going to be so stoked. Oh yeah, Matt, I'm reporting live from the treehouse. Do you love it? Yeah, I'm super stoked about the treehouse, if you will. Banjo is not stoked about the upstairs neighbor situation, but good so far. The only problem with this layout is you can't see all my knickknacks. But that is okay. You can see more of the thinking wall, which is exciting. That will be developing here shortly. But yes, okay. Matt, since you're tuning in, I'm starting the process of mapping out the entirety of the problem as it relates to outbound details and why it's so complex. And what I'm realizing is to be able to systemically solve a lot of these problems, there needs to be some back-end logic that determines the proximity to saleability. Oh, yes, for those of you wondering what Sweaty Dog is, that is this dog character here. Growing up, I liked to sleep under 6 million blankets, and then I would have this little dog that I would snuggle up with. It's almost as if I exchanged one sweaty dog for another sweaty dog. Oh, that's right. We got a Banjo incoming. As you can see, Banjo is the new sweaty dog in my life. I know you're so just sleepy. You're also so stinky. Anyways, the by sleeping under 1 million blankets, thank you, sweaty dog number 2. By sleeping under 1 billion blankets, this poor dog, I was just sweating, and I thought that the dog made me sweaty. No, it was the number of blankets. So, yeah, I was trying to move him out of the way to do something, and I forgot. Okay. Anyway, so looking at what I'm doing currently is I'm trying to think through a single select column that describes the proximity to saleability so that we can better explain or work with customers to move all of their product towards a closer realm to saleability, because there might be a future where we say the service level agreement is for things that are in saleable format, the closest to FBA that we become. If we were to be at FBA levels, I think I'm dying. Beep the brand. Okay. If maybe, and this is again thinking out loud, there might be a future where in our service level agreements and our contract agreements with clients is they can expect that any orders that are in say like truly pick it, put a label on it, send it out the door. Those have a X amount of hour or 1 day turnaround. Anything that requires kitting and then sending out can be within X amount of days. And anything that requires sticker, box, pick, pack, kit, this, then based on the proximity to saleability, then it decreases the labor load or maybe increases the price, the tiered pricing that we have. And then we have, I don't know, I'm kind of like trying to come up with a way to categorically sort out our inventory by proximity to saleability. I think I said the same thing 6 times, but eventually it'll stick. But okay. Anyways, there's a few more questions I need to ask and answer with Claude to get some feedback. And if you in the audience have any ideas, or if you think this is a bad idea or a good idea, you let me know, because that's the point of this being a live stream, is to get feedback. Okay, back to music. Doesn't it just make you feel things? When a unit is sitting in inventory uncommitted, what determines which path it goes down? Is it first come, first serve, pre-allocate, or reserve components for variety packs? First come, first serve. Is that something that happens on demand when an order comes in, or you batch assemble variety packs ahead of time as a separate inventory unit? It happens both if we have time. When you say something needs to be put in a box that fits all the other order items, are you describing multi-line orders where everything gets consolidated into one outbound box? Yes. Okay. I think it asked a lot of good... Oh, we're stuck. It asked a lot of good questions, which makes me feel like it's gonna help me. Because it's, ugh. I'm nervous. It's a worthy problem to solve. I keep convincing myself because the inner engineer is like, how about you just decrease the amount of options you provide? And it's like, no, the reason why we got into small minimum order quantity and working with new brand owners is to provide them the flexibility to be able to learn enough to make intelligent decisions with their with their product and their money. And it's a service that is difficult, but it is worthy because people deserve to let the data help them make better decisions. And so what I love about Peach Profitability and what I love about Good Trade Depot is we absorb the complexity so that people have the flexibility to grow. So, but it does have to become a circumstance of once you're over a certain threshold of volume that it transitions. Now it's like getting them ready for the level of flexibility at this level is not what the big box retailers are going to accept. So there's a counterbalance of accountability of, hey, we are the path between here and getting you ready for full commercialization of your fulfillment process. And so I think right now is we don't really have our stage gates of when that tipping point happens. But that's why I'm thinking about it today, which I'm excited about because I don't get a lot of time to let my brain fester, you know? Okay. Okay. Proposed categories from most to least ready. Label and ship. Box is already in an outbound box. Put a label on it, no handling. Box and ship. Item is ready but needs an outbound box, either alone or consolidated with other line items. No assembly, no prep. Shrink wrap eligible. And this is where, okay, can be sold as a standalone unit, but can't be pre-prepped because it may be pulled for variety pack. Sits in an open case tray, awaiting commitment. Assemble to order. Variety pack component or kit needs to be counted, combined with other SKUs, and packed before it can ship. May be pre-assembled when capacity allows. No e-commerce SKU exists yet. Needs to be measured, listed, potentially custom packaged before it could be fulfillment pipeline. Your investor mailer and niche offering. The problem is this is like something of an item could be all of these. Few things to flag. Shrink wrap eligible and assemble to order. Might need to live on the same row for dual use SKUs. Does your system, we do support multi-select. Do you need substatus? Does this pre-assembled variety pack inventory get its own row SKU or does it roll up into the other components? Oh, I guess you can't see the whole. There we go. The problem with the first one is like I like it, but I also would like just like one selection of what it means. But I think it almost might be better. I don't know. Not listed items. Do you need a substatus there? Needs measuring. The problem with not. Okay, one moment. Back to music. Does pre-assembled variety pack inventory get its own? Oh. All right. What's nice, and I think, because I've been on the pendulum swing of AI usage for so long, I think I've been decreasing the amount of like day-to-day usage I've been getting. Like I've instead have been going to a therapist. Shout out my girl. I instead of being like Dr. Claude, I've been going to a therapist and I've been trying to decrease my usage as much as possible. But hyper technical things like this, I think there's more. Just by the questions it's asking me, it's a well-defined problem is half solved. So the more I feather it out, the better my answer is feeling. And so the just like tanning beds are going to give you cancer, AI is going to end the world. But if that's what's going to keep me a little upright today, unfortunately for this project, I am going to try to help me think this through, which I just hate that I feel guilty while I do it. Ugh. But anyways, this is actually key insight. Shut up. Not listed isn't a readiness state. It's a flag that can apply to anything. This could be both of those things. Yes. Okay. Reframe. Primary status. Oh. Ooh. Okay, Claude. What's up? Okay, primary status. And that says it's a flex component or it's assembled to order or pre-assembled. And so flex component could be, I know. And Eric, thank you for making me feel better about my AI usage. It's it's tough. Okay, assemble to order means it needs to be kitted. Flex component means it could go in either direction. Pre-assembled means it's similar to a box and ship, but pre-assembled could be unassembled at some point to be used individually. Okay. Secondary flag. E-commerce listing does not exist. Needs measuring. No box size. So similarly, like if needs measuring would be, yeah. Okay. Custom packaging, investor mailer, niche offering, standard. Okay. Ooh. Okay, Mom. Okay, this is bars. Guilt is a waste of time. If we felt guilty about all the things we should, we would stay in bed in the fetal position. That is the exact news I needed to hear today. So honestly, thank you so much for that. That's bars for sure. Reserved for kit, soft allocated towards a variety pack, but not yet committed, and awaiting okay, so this is like a secondary flag. Okay. Okay. You know what? I like the idea of a primary and secondary proximity to sale because it still doesn't quite answer the nested record thing. So I need to adjust the name of this episode to Amber learns more about inventory saleability. Because the answer lies within there needs to be a mapped table between basically a bill of materials. That's what it should. I'm silly. Okay. I need to explore for next time bill of materials database structure and how that relates to e-commerce components and how that relates to inventory on hand, because the end of all of this is we need Amber learns when we win when we learn. You're so funny, Mom. Inventory on hand. The reason why we can't auto decrement inventory is because we don't have the map between the orders outbound and the ecom components. We need the bridge of this SKU and just to solve 80% of our issue with the auto decrementing, mapping the e-commerce like the ASIN, the UPC to its e-commerce components that live on the warehouse floor. Back in my day, Anheuser-Busch, everything was in its saleable unit. So you could connect the sale at the wholesaler to the retailer to the inventory on hand. And we can't do that specifically in this moment because it's not in the saleable way. So, okay. I feel good. We are coming up on the hour. I appreciate you guys for being here. And I'm so glad to be in my new apartment. Oh, do you know how much I'm going to get done now that I'm not being fucked with? Oh my God. Okay. I don't know when this is going to end, as always. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to slowly press the end broadcast button, and I appreciate you coming.